So a lot of you guys have said that you've been trying to farm and get as much souls as possible, and it just isn't happening. Like, you just can't keep up in souls. You're doing the jungle, you're taking the boxes, you're destroying the statues, and you're just behind in souls and you can't figure it out. Ask me to do a video explaining how to fix that, how to correct it. Here I am with that. I've got the perfect example for you. I'm in a game where we got 61,000 souls in 36 minutes. Guys, that's 1,000 souls, 1,700 souls even per minute. And not only that, we converted that into a high player damage, right? Almost 2,000 damage per minute. And not only that, we've got the highest objective damage. Almost more objective damage than the entire team combined. Definitely more than the enemy's team combined, which makes sense because we won, we got more objectives. Ideally, when you have souls, you're going to want to have a high damage on either the objective or all players, right? One or the other is fine. Having both is a bonus. First question I want to ask you before we get into the replay. Is that you? Do you have the most souls, but you've got 4 digits on either one, right? Having 4 digits on one is fine. If you have it on both, is that you? Have you won the game and you've kept up with your team in souls, but you've got less than 10,000 damage on objectives or players? If that is the case, you've been playing PvE, and hopefully in this video we explain how to become a PvP player and as a result convert those souls into more victories, right? So we're against a good team here. We're against a Fed Vindictor, a Fed Haze, at one point a Fed Geist, and we were able to convert that into a win anyways. So I'm going to play this at 2x speed and talk about some concepts on how to just have souls, right? I've been experimenting so much and I've been feeding, I've been carrying, and I've been in the middle, and I think I think at least for this patch until the meta changes, it's clicked. It's clicked. I figured it out, guys, right? But first things first, before we get into the soul mechanics, right? What I want you to understand is character strengths. And I think this could be an interesting opportunity, so let me know if you'd want me to do a video on character strengths, right? So what characters are strong and what their strengths and weaknesses are. So let me give you a quick preview of what I'm talking about. I'm playing Kelvin against a Yamato. Kelvin's got a very strong free skill early game to harass. I think it's 60 DPS. 60 DPS. And Yamato, she's got a Q here, which at a full charge, if she positions well, is going to really harass you quite strongly, right? So if we look at Kelvin's HP, she could chunk about a fifth, a quarter of my HP every single full charge Q if she plays correctly. Couple that with her right click, couple that with her left click. If she plays at a good range, plays behind the appropriate walls, level 1 she could harass me. Not only that, she's got a higher bullet velocity than me, right? So if I decided to play this as a farm lane, she's got the ability to basically deny me a lot of creeps. So I know her strengths, I know my strengths, and I try and push it. I try and not give her an opportunity to basically snowball on me and give me any issues. So not only am I looking at her strengths and my weaknesses and my strengths, right? I'm thinking about the lash and the pocket. As you can see, they're playing super aggressive. So I already know most lash players, most pocket players are going to be playing aggressively. And what does that translate into? Usually, they're going to want to take the opportunity when they see it or think about it. Also gank adjacent lanes, right? So I'm not in the middle, I'm in the side lane. And I want to be ahead so that if either of these two gank, then they don't ruin my day, right? So that's my philosophy. And that's why I played so aggressively in this match. Now, let's talk about souls. How do you end up in the game with the most souls? Well, it might come to no surprise to you, but the easiest way to do that is to have the most kills. If you have the most kills in the game, you're probably going to have the most souls in the game, right? Now, I've just talked about character strengths. But obviously, if you're playing what I'm going to call hyper carries, it's going to be a lot easier to have the most souls in the game. What are hyper carries? Well, let's actually look at this matchup, right? We've got a Wraith, Infernus, Haze, Vindictor, Geist, Flash, Pocket, Yamato. I'm gonna say these are the hyper carries in this game. These are the ones that have the skill set basically to just get a ridiculous amount of kills. So I've actually seen very impressive beat-ups. I've seen beat-ups with 30 kills. I've seen 7s also get really fed, but not so much in the recent patch. But I've not really seen that many Paradoxes get lots of kills, right? And right, realistically, these are more utility characters, right? They've got the skill set to kind of do more utility as opposed to offensive damage, hypermobility, etc, etc. Obviously with 7 you can itemize to change that. Now, if you're not playing a hyper carry, then you don't need to have the most souls in the game. What you need to do is enable your team to basically continue to win, right? So, the easiest way to get lots of souls is to get lots of kills. But do not neglect the farm doing so, but also recognize your character's strengths. Thankfully, this is one of the games where you can itemize your character in almost any way you want and end up getting lots of kills anyway. We'll get into itemization later. So, we've covered kills, right? Getting lots of kills is going to get you lots of souls. But, what about farming? Farming is very, very important. Especially in the early game. And you're going to want to balance it out, right? So, in the first wave, I believe you can get 300 souls, right? If you deny the enemy, you're going to have 450 souls or thereabouts. I think it's going to be like 453 souls. Because it seems to be a decimal number of some sort. Keep that in mind, right? So if we go back to first waves, 450 souls in the first minute is a big deal, right? And it only scales up. It scales up per minutes, or per few waves, I should say. You're going to want to farm, but also deny a lot of souls. Now, this goes back into your character strengths. Say, for example, I'm an Abrams, or no, like, let's say, for example, I'm a Paradox in 7, and I'm playing against a Viscous and Abrams. I'm going to want to prioritize keeping the lane somewhat in the middle, but in my side of the middle, right? Like my side of the bridge, and just denying them, right? I want to be at the stairs around the tower and just denying them, because it should be a lot more easier for me to deny them and a lot harder for them to harass me and get me in any positions by walls where they can essentially get kills, which is basically what that lane duo's strength should be, right? To understand what your character can do and play appropriately. The fastest way for you to get souls in some cases is to focus on denying. The fastest way for you to get souls in other cases is to focus on getting lots of kills. And sometimes if your lane opponent is playing really, really safely, if there's an opportunity to do so, all you really need to do is push the lane out and roam, right? If you're in one of the middle lanes, there's an opportunity on one lane to really punish and ruin someone's day. Trust me guys, it's very, very easy to get kills, right? Particularly if you are hitting your shots. So if you're actually interested in how to hit your shots, and how to practice your aim, I've actually got a video, right? So hopefully I just remembered to link the video here, and you'll be able to essentially practice some aim mechanics and getting comfortable with your mouse, right? So I've been getting real comfortable with my mouse. I've got a new mouse now, and after a few days, it feels really, it fits like a glove. Let's put it that way. I'm really comfortable. I think this was my first day with the mouse. I've spoken about getting kills, I've spoken about getting deniers, I've spoken about character strengths. Let's talk about staying alive, right? We're not talking about the BG song or Fuji's, whatever it's called. Staying alive is going to allow you to passively get income, right? So it could be by your opponents, or by your team, and they're farming, and you get the soul split from that. Or it could be by you able to farm the jungle and you get souls that way. Or you're able to deny the enemy and you get souls that way. Either way, you're able to like deny, get kills, farm. Things you can't do if you're dead. Now what's really important is when you're alive, you're able to do objectives such as the urn, get towers, you need to backdoor and do so, or even deny the enemy's soul count when they get objectives. One thing I love to do, now in particular, is I know if the walker on our side is about to go down, I'm going to be at a safe distance and I'm going to deny as many souls from that walker as possible. I think yesterday I managed to deny about 800 or 900 souls from a dead walker, and then I just flew away, right? Guys, imagine that. Imagine you punishing the enemy, or at least taking some advantage from the enemy, even though you lost an objective. Some of you might think, oh, we're going to lose our walker, let me just farm the other side of the map. Is that going to give you 800 souls? I don't think so. Obviously the counterpoint here is you might die for it, or the enemy might deny the souls and you get nothing. Usually you can get some souls, right? And then you can just return to the jungle. So guys, weigh that up, right? Think about this game as an objective game. And what you want to do is take the objectives, defend your objectives, deny the enemy. Because this is very important. So guys, keep that in mind, right? You want to be in the right place at the right time. While you're staying alive, you want to be effective. You want to be useful. This gives me the next point, and something that's very dear to my heart. Jungle efficiency. Now, jungle efficiency, in my opinion, is how quick you can do the jungle. If it takes you more than, I'm going to say 20 to 30 seconds to do the T3 camps, and more than 2 reloads to do the T2 camps and T1 camps, is not efficient. There's other places in the map you can be. Essentially, it wants to be like a drive-by, right? So when Infernus has some items, he literally just presses his 2 skill and he farms, right? Kelvin, he can just throw his snowball and it just speeds up the farm. You know, Bebop can throw his bomb if he's doing that such a build, etc, etc. You're getting the point. What you want is, if your character has the capability to really farm quickly, then do it, because skills have long cooldowns, but not only that, your reload has a long cooldown. Your reload is a punish, right? If you're reloading too much, that's a lot of seconds, right? And one small tip you might not know, meleeing actually delays your reload, right? But if the creep is low enough or it's quicker to just throw in a few melees, then do that instead of waiting for a reload. But my rule of thumb, you don't have to keep to it. But personally, I feel if I can't kill this creep wave in 2 reloads, then it's a waste of time. Now, I'm not saying farming a creep wave and then all of a sudden you've done 2 reloads and you're like, oh damn, Roger said that I can't do more, let me just leave these creeps. No, experiment. Find out how fast your character can do certain creep waves with certain items and go from there. We're in an alpha game. This is all about experimentation. It's all about learning. I'm not saying have a first perfect game. Just figure it out, right? If I'm playing Vindicta early game, oof, she's got a slow fire rate. She's got a small ammo magazine. Like, she's got little damage. Unless she's got the steroid from her flight. I'm not farming early, but once I get a few items, melts it, right? Instead with Vindicta, I'm going to realize I'm a team player, right? I rely on being around my team. I rely on my positioning. I rely on last hitting kills when I've maxed my 4 skill. So, know your character's strengths. And hopefully you're seeing how everything is kind of coming together and giving a holistic view on essentially getting the most fun. Now, kill participation is what I mentioned very, very early. You're staying alive, and you're participating in kills, you're getting the most souls. This is a good point because as you saw here, I died, but in the result, I got 2 kills, which helped our team, right? So you don't always have to be alive, but if you're able to kill the most fed players on the team, then you've done your job, right? So it's not always about souls, it's about how you're converting these souls, right? And another point, in terms of participation in general, what I think is a very, very good way to play is to benchmark yourself. If you're playing and you've won your lane, let's say, the first 10 minutes, I would say I've taken at least 2 objectives. I'd say I've been effective. 3 is a bonus. How does 2 objectives look like? It could be 1 guardian, 1 walker. It could be 2 guardians. But basically in the first 10 minutes, me as a solo player who's won my lane, I've basically been instrumental in 2 objectives being taken down. Why is this important? Because it's opened up the map, it's given us a lot of souls, it's pressured the enemy, it's enabled us to get flex slots faster. These are all positives. Now imagine instead you were like, I'm just going to farm my own jungle now that I've pushed my wave out and I've won my lane. You're not going to have a lot of souls that way. Trust me guys, you're going to have more souls on average if you've taken out more objectives and gotten the souls from there, and as a result probably gotten more kills, and as a result opened up more of the map. This is going to give you the most souls. Niles, like I said, once you've destroyed the objectives, is not so important for guardians, but definitely for walkers. If a walker's about to die, just be there. You know, you want to be around it and denying all the souls. Now, we're going to talk quickly about itemization. Having all these souls doesn't mean anything at all, guys, if you buy the wrong items. So in this game, we're against a fed Vindicta, a fed Haze, and as you can see, as a result, I prioritized hyper mobility. I've got fleet footwork here. I've got the debuff remover because I'm against a 7 Haze, a 7 Vindicta, a pocket. Basically, things that are gonna just debuff me. I've got metal skin for the Haze Vindicta because they're very, very ahead, and we don't want to like really struggle against them. Itemization is very, very important, and eventually once you understand the items, you're going to be able to understand when to buy what, when to prioritize your power spike in terms of damage or your survivability, because your survivability is more important, because that's going to give you more souls. So, if I'm against a fed haze, and I've got the choice between buying, let's say for example, intensifying magazine, right, or metal skin. If I know the haze is really participating in kills, and she's gonna focus me on catching me out of position with her stuff and such, I'm buying the metal skin. Because that's, unless she like silences me, which then should be super head, right? He's going to basically not give me any issues for the duration of the metal skin. So keep that in mind, guys. Itemize appropriately once you have all of these souls. Ideally, this has been a useful video for you. So if it has, please let me know. Let me just talk through some of the concepts I've said one more time. Know your character strengths. Farm well. Participate in a lot of kills. Stay alive. And if you die, make sure you're trading. If you've died, I didn't really get a chance to talk about this. I'd rather someone died, but they got the urn, they secured the urn, or they died but they secured a walker or shrine, or they killed, you know, the biggest threats on the enemy. Death should always be a trade. Kill participation. It lends itself. If your team is ahead, you don't want to be in a position where you're farming the jungle when you could be taking objectives. So, taking objectives is your #1 priority. Go through the jungle only if it's a drive-by through your path, or there's nothing else to do on the map. Say for example, your team's dead. Finally, denials. At every stage of the game, you're going to want to deny the enemy. Hopefully, this has been a useful video for you. If it has, let me know. If you have any ideas for video concepts, do let me know as well. And yeah, there's nothing else to say. Out.